Listen to me, you may not hear this in your church. You may not hear it on your TikTok, your podcast, your feed, your echo chamber, but you need to hear it now. Because we are on the edge of something divine, something dangerous, and most people are asleep. The trumpet is already sounding in the spirit, but the church is not ready. She's distracted, entertained, divided. And you, yes, you, young man, chosen son of this hour, you've been walking through a silent war. You feel it, the loneliness, the anger, the confusion. You try to look strong, but you're tired. You've been fighting shadows in your heart, haunted by the question, is there more? I'm here to tell you, yes, there is more. Yes, you were made for something greater. Yes, this is your wake-up call. But here's the truth, God is about to pour out something so raw, so holy, so earth-shaking revival, judgment, restoration, a shaking of nations. And if your spirit isn't right, you will miss it while sitting in a pew. You'll still be scrolling, still flirting with sin, still pretending you don't need God while secretly breaking inside. The church is not ready, but you can be. And if enough of us are, we won't just witness a move of God, we'll become it. So don't click away. Don't scroll past your moment, because everything is about to change. And it starts with you. Listen to me. There was a time when the church would shake the earth, when a man could walk into a building filled with believers and fall on his face, weeping under the power of God, not because of lights or sound or fog machines, but because the Spirit of the living God was there. There was a fire, not hype, fire, not emotionalism, fire. The kind that purifies, the kind that breaks chains, the kind that costs you something. And yet today, we've traded the upper room for a conference room. We've traded conviction for comfort. And I'm telling you now, the fire is leaving where it's not welcome. How did we get here? We stopped trembling. We stopped hungering. We stopped weeping over our sin. We made a deal with the culture. If you won't judge us, we won't convict you. And in doing so, we've produced a church that looks more like the world than like the bride. And that's why the world laughs at us. That's why it doesn't listen when we speak. Because the light we carry isn't burning anymore. Young man, listen, this isn't just about the church out there. It's about you. You are the church. And if the fire is gone from the church, maybe it's because it's gone from you. When was the last time you were on your knees and time disappeared? When was the last time you fasted for something more than 6 hours? When was the last time you prayed with tears, with groanings, with holy desperation? God didn't change, we did. And He's not coming back for a lukewarm bride. He's coming back for one who burns. You were made to carry fire, not sit in the pew and complain about sermons. Not sit in the shadows of distraction and addiction. God put something in you, something eternal, and you've let the world cover it in noise. But I believe if you're hearing this now, it means the embers are still there, buried maybe, forgotten perhaps, but not dead. And when fire meets surrender, revival begins, not on a stage, not in a crowd, but right here. In you, the church may not be ready, but you can be. One man fully lit for God can set a generation ablaze. You want to see change? Let it start with your knees hitting the floor and your heart saying, God, light me again, because He will. And when He does, everything will change. Some of you listening to me right now, you've been carrying the weight of heartbreak like a chain around your soul. A relationship ended, a promise was broken, maybe you were ghosted, betrayed, disrespected. And now every time you look in the mirror, you see the cracks, you feel the ache. You wonder if you'll ever be enough, if you'll ever be chosen, if love is even real anymore. But I need you to hear something that your heart may not want to hear, but your spirit needs to hear. That heartbreak, that pain, that moment of rejection, it wasn't just a tragedy, it was a holy alarm from heaven. You see, when God wants to wake a man up, He often allows the thing you trusted most, the relationship, the connection, the comfort, to be shaken. Why? because he loves you too much to let you build your worth on the sand of another person's opinion. He loves you too much to let your identity rest in a relationship that was never meant to complete you. The pain you feel, it's not punishment. It's preparation, the heartbreak. It's heaven's alarm clock ringing at midnight, shaking you from the slumber of mediocrity. You thought that relationship would heal you, but only God can do that. You thought their affection would fill your emptiness, but only His love can complete you. I know the sting of rejection. I know the quiet tears behind closed doors. I know the questioning, the wondering, the anger. God, why would you let this happen? But hear me. The heartbreak wasn't to break you. It was to make you. It was to call you higher, to remind you that you're not called to be a beggar for affection. You're called to be a son of the Most High. God allows what hurts to awaken what matters. He removes what's shallow to reveal what's eternal. You were never meant to chase validation. You were meant to stand as a man of vision, purpose, and fire. So don't curse the heartbreak. Don't waste the pain. Let it drive you to your knees. Let it drive you into His arms. Let it drive you into the calling you've been running from. Because heartbreak, my brother, is not the end of your story. It's the alarm signaling your awakening. The question is, will you hit snooze or will you rise? There's a quiet plague sweeping through this generation, and its name is loneliness. You feel it, don't you? You can be in a crowd, surrounded by people, and yet empty. You can have followers, messages, likes, and yet the room feels silent. You lie awake at night scrolling, searching, staring at that screen, wondering, where's the connection? Where's the love? Where's the purpose? But I need to speak a hard truth to you now, and I pray your spirit hears it, even if your emotions push back. Loneliness is not a death sentence. It is not your identity. It is not your future. Loneliness, my brother, is a signpost. It's God's divine signal pointing you back to the only place you've ever truly belonged, His presence. The world told you that a girlfriend would fix the ache, that success would fill the emptiness, that attention, money, status would erase the void. But here you stand, broken, scrolling, chasing, but still alone. You've tried to drown the silence with distractions, but the achy remains. And here's the mystery of heaven. Sometimes God allows the loneliness to linger, because it's in the silence where He speaks the loudest. It's in the ache where your calling is awakened. You see, loneliness isn't always a curse. It's a corridor. It's a passage through which you walk, not to be abandoned, but to be transformed. God never called you to be popular. He called you to be set apart. He never promised constant crowds, but He promised constant presence. You feel alone, but you are not forsaken. Heaven watches. The Father waits. Your loneliness is not proof of failure. It's proof that you were made for more than shallow relationships, temporary attention, or surface-level living. The prophets, they walked alone. The disciples, abandoned by crowds. Even the Messiah, the Son of God Himself, prayed alone in Gethsemane while the world slept. But after the isolation came resurrection. After the ache came authority. After the loneliness came legacy. So hear me now. Don't curse your lonely season. Don't let the devil convince you that you're forgotten. That ache you feel, that's your signpost pointing back home to the arms of your Father, to your real identity, to your unshakable worth. You're not sentenced to be alone forever, but you are called to be forged in the silence, so that when the time comes, you don't just belong to the crowd, you belong to the kingdom, the church. Listen to me now. The church has ground soft. You see it, I see it. The world is shaking, nations are trembling, truth is under attack, and yet much of the church is asleep, entertained, comfortable, weak. We were never called to build a clubhouse. We were called to storm the gates of hell. We weren't called to blend in. We were called to stand apart. But what do we see today? A church obsessed with comfort. Sermons watered down so no one gets offended. Truth compromised so feelings don't get hurt. Men walking into the house of God as spectators, not soldiers. But hear me, my brother, the days of comfort Christianity are over. The shaking has begun. God is exposing weak foundations, lukewarm hearts, performative faith. And while the church has grown soft, heaven is raising warriors. He's calling men who don't run from the fire, but walk through it. Men who don't collapse under pressure, but rise under purpose. You weren't designed to be a passive believer. You were created to be a dangerous son of the kingdom, but dangerous not with fists, but with faith, not with ego, but with authority. The kind of man who prays with fire, who leads with humility, who speaks truth when the world demands silence. Young men, hear me now. The battle isn't coming, it's already here. Look around. Families are falling apart. Culture is confused. Masculinity is distorted. Relationships are breaking. Truth is mocked. And the church, soft, silent, afraid to offend. But that's not the church Jesus died for. That's not the church that turned the world upside down. That's not the church filled with the Spirit that shattered chains, healed the broken, and stood unshaken before empires. And you were not created to fit into this passive, powerless version of faith. You were born to be part of the remnant, a generation of men set apart, fire, tested, Spirit-filled, unashamed. God isn't looking for spectators. He's searching for warriors, men who love radically, lead boldly, sacrifice deeply, and walk with unwavering truth. The world is desperate for men who won't bow to culture, but rise for the kingdom. Are you ready to be that man? Because make no mistake, the church has grown soft, but the warriors are rising. And heaven is calling your name, brother. Listen closely. You thought your struggle with relationships was just about rejection, just about bad timing, just about finding the right girl. But you've been lied to. The pain you're walking through, the frustration, the ghosting, the confusion, it's deeper than feelings. It's a battle, a spiritual battle for your identity, your worth, your destiny. You see, the world turned dating into a game, and you've been told to play along. Swipe, impress, perform, chasey, and then wonder why your soul feels emptier than before. But hear me now. The battlefield of modern relationships isn't one with tactics, it's one with truth. The enemy isn't after your ego, he's after your future. Because when a man loses himself in the shallow pursuit of attention, validation, temporary affection, he forfeits the deeper purpose God wrote over his life. The devil doesn't care how many matches you get, how many dates you go on, if in the process you forget who you are in Christ. But this is the truth they won't tell you. The ache you feel, the rejection you face, the heartbreak you carry. It's not because you're unworthy. It's because there's a war over your worth. There's a battle for the kind of man you're becoming. Relationships aren't random. They reveal your wounds, your weaknesses, your unmet needs. But they also reveal your calling. You were never meant to beg for love. You were meant to carry it. You weren't designed to chase validation. You were created to lead with vision. Some of you've been spiraling, feeling rejected, abandoned, questioning your value. But brother, rejection isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's protection. God's blocking the counterfeit to prepare you for the real. But you've got to stop fighting battles in your own strength. You've got to stop measuring your worth by their response. You've got to stop thinking a relationship will heal what only God can redeem. This is a spiritual war. You win not by manipulation, but by maturity, not by chasing, but by standing. You win when you rise as the man God destined you to be, a man of integrity, authority, unshakable love, and purpose. Stop letting rejection define you. Let it refine you. Stop seeing dating as a distraction and start seeing it as divine preparation. Because when you stand in your worth, when you walk in your calling, the right relationship won't complete you. It will complement the warrior God is raising in you. It's time to stop playing games. The battlefield is real. The warrior is rising. Are you ready to fight differently? The shaking, it's already begun. You can feel it, can't you? The ground beneath this generation is trembling. Culture is collapsing. Truth is being mocked. Foundations that look so secure, they're cracking. Relationships, faith, identity. Everything is being tested, but don't be deceived. This isn't chaos without purpose. This is prophecy unfolding. God is allowing the shaking because only in the shaking are the weak roots exposed. Only in the shaking do you discover what's real and what was always an illusion. And hear me now, brother. The question isn't if the shaking is coming, it's already here. The question is, when the storm hits, when the world mocks your faith, when rejection cuts deep, when temptations pull at your soul, will you fall? Or will you stand? You see, many have built their lives on sand. On appearance, followers, charm, money, temporary success. But sand cannot hold you when the earth shakes. Shallow faith cannot anchor you when the battle intensifies. And false masculinity, built on ego and games, will collapse under pressure. But those who are rooted, those who are grounded in truth, in purpose, in the unshakable love of God, they will stand, they will rise. They will not be moved. And brother, that's the man you are called to be. You weren't created to ride the waves of culture. You were created to be anchored in eternity. You weren't called to chase empty validation. You were called to walk in unshakable identity. God is raising men, not boys addicted to comfort. Warriors, not wanderers. Sons who stand when others fall. Leaders who love when others run. But it starts with your roots. If your foundation is built on approval, on dating apps, on temporary pleasure, you will fall when the shaking comes. But if your roots run deep into His Word, His truth, His presence, when the storm rages, you will stand firm. The earth is being shaken, but heaven is preparing the unshakable. And brother, you were not born for this world's applause. You were born to be immovable in God's kingdom. Everything false is collapsing. The question is, when the dust settles, will you still be standing? Root yourself now, because God is about to shake the earth, and only the rooted will remain. My brother, I don't care how broken you feel right now. I don't care how many mistakes you've made, how many times you've been rejected, how lonely, confused, or lost you feel. You are not done. Your story is not over. The shaking you feel, it's not here to destroy you. It's here to reveal you. God isn't finished with you. You're still breathing. That means there's still purpose, still destiny, still fire left to burn inside you. But hear me, this isn't a time to stay silent. If this message stirred something in you, don't just scroll past it. Don't bury it under distractions. Rise. Step into the fight. Be the man God is calling you to be. Like this message, if it hit your soul, comment below. Tell me where you're standing. Tell me where you're struggling. You're not alone. We are brothers and we are rising together. Share this with another man who's battling in the dark, who needs to hear he's not forgotten. And subscribe, because I promise you God's not done speaking. The storm is not the end. The warriors are rising, and together we will stand.